Hello, welcome back to True Intent. Thanks for joining us again this week. If you enjoy what we're doing, please comment, like, subscribe, or share this with people that you know, and hopefully it will be a blessing to them as well. Well, this week we are wrapping up our third discussion about the gateways of gratitude, about places that gratitude leads us. We began this right after Thanksgiving. We've been talking about it now for a couple of weeks, and we're going to wrap up this discussion today. So what we have talked about is that gratitude will lead you into the presence of God, to the presence of the King of Kings, and that gratitude will lead you into salvation when you begin with a thankful heart. But gratitude doesn't just get us into the presence of God. Gratitude doesn't just help us gain salvation, but gratitude can help us stay in a right relationship with God. You see, gratitude is a gateway to contentment, which will keep us right as we grow in our relationship with God in the middle of a lost and fallen world, in the middle of all the chaos that we have seen this year. Gratitude will keep our hearts and our minds right. You see, Paul tells the church at Philippi to persevere regardless of your situation. And could we ever use those words and apply them to us today as encouragement more than ever before? But let's look at his words in Philippians chapter 4. We're going to begin at verse 6, and Paul says, "Don't worry about anything. Instead, pray about everything. Tell God what you need and thank Him for all He has done." He opens up this conversation by saying, talk to God about what you need, but also be grateful. Also be thankful. Make sure we always include thanksgiving. We always include a grateful heart. Fix your thoughts on godly things. The peace of God will be with you. In verse 11, he continues in his letter and he says, Not that I was ever in need, for I have learned how to be content with what I have. I know how to live on almost nothing or with everything. I have learned the secret of living in every situation, whether it is with a full stomach or empty, with plenty or little. You see, when we start with thankfulness, then we know how to be content with much and with little. When we're not grateful, the truth of the matter is we will not be content when we're lacking. We won't be content when we're in need. We won't be content when we have little. That's kind of a guarantee. But when we're not grateful, the truth is we will also not be content when we have abundance, when we have more than we need. When we're very blessed, we'll still want something different, something more, something else when we're not grateful. You see, gratitude and contentment. He talks about this a couple of other times. We're going to see a couple other portions of Scripture in this discussion today. They are incredible weapons against greed, against jealousy, and against selfishness. These are things that are rampant in the world, but unfortunately are also rampant in the church today. And I have seen it destroy many good people's hearts and minds and ministries and churches when greed and jealousy and selfishness begin to take over. And it becomes all about me and all about I. We've lost the spirit of gratitude. We've lost a heart of thankfulness. Paul continues to talk about the power of contentment that comes along with gratitude. 2 Corinthians chapter 12 and verse 10, he said, "Therefore I am well content with weakness, with insults, with distress, with persecutions, with difficulties, for Christ's sake. For when I am weak, then I am strong." He tells Timothy, young protege, 1 Timothy chapter 6 and verse 6, he says, "Yet true godliness with contentment is itself great wealth." You see, gratitude is a gateway to contentment. And contentment is the secret to a joyful life with Jesus Christ. It is the way to persevere regardless of your situation. I think it's more critical than ever right now, uncertain of what tomorrow may hold, uncertain of what next week, next month, or certainly what next year may hold. Nobody knows what's coming in 2021. We hope that in 21 the vaccine is on its way. We hope things get back to quote unquote the new norm or some semblance of normalcy. We hope that the economy continues to rebound. We hope that our life can continue to what it was before the COVID pandemic struck. But I want to encourage somebody today that regardless if life never looks like it did before, if your job never comes back the way it was before, if things stay different, and I believe they will in some form or fashion, things will continually be different, be unexpected, be not like they ever was again in our lifetime. In the middle of all of this, we got to find the things to be grateful for. If you never had COVID, be grateful for that. If you never lost anyone to COVID, be grateful for that. If you're thinking to yourself, Chris, how in the world in the middle of a pandemic, how in the middle of all the uncertainty in our country and our world, how can I find something to be grateful for? You just have to stop and think. Sometimes you can just look to your right or left and see the person right down the street, right across the town, right across the nation, right across the world. You can find something to be grateful for, and I want to encourage you today to do that. If we could learn to say thanks for what we have, and say, God, I'm grateful for what you have done for me, and I'm grateful for what you are going to do for me, in me, and through me by faith. God, I may be in a bad situation right now. I may be in the belly of a well. I may be in the middle of a trial. I may be caught up in all kind of problems. But I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be content. My bank account may not be what it used to be. My friends and families, I may not see them as much as I used to see them, but in my season of less, in my season of restriction, in my season of isolation, I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to be grateful for the house in which I'm isolating. I'm going to be grateful for you, and you find that. You fill in the blank. You find the things to be grateful for. Be content with less. Then when the abundance comes, when things begin to return and the bank account increases and the jobs come back and the health comes back, you can maintain that spirit of gratitude. If you don't have it now, it'll be hard. I'm watching people right now. I could name names of people right now. Some of them have been more blessed than they've ever been. Some of them have more in their bank account than they ever have, but they're not grateful and they're not content. And they're still frustrated, they're still aggravated, they're still looking, and they're still searching. And that's what happens with people that don't have contentment, are not grateful. They always are looking for that next thing. We often let the troubles of this world drown out the promises of paradise and the hope of heaven. We need to remember that regardless of how this story ends in the physical, as a born-again believer, we know what awaits us in eternity. If there's nothing else to be grateful for, be grateful for Calvary, which leads us to eternity. We need to shake ourselves and remember regardless of what this life brings, regardless of what tomorrow holds, regardless of what next year may hold, there's a reward waiting on us. And no man, no situation, no trial, no devil, no problem, nothing can take the hope of heaven away from us. I want you to remain grateful, because the gateways, places, the locations that gratitude can lead you to are incredible. We love each and every one of you. Thank you for joining us again this week. This has been a blessing. Please comment, like, subscribe, or share. Until next time, continue to expect great things. God bless.